Todd, before we talk about the game, do you have any update on Anisimov right now?
Well, he's alert and stable. He'll be kept in the hospital overnight for observation, and the plan is right now is to send him back to Columbus tomorrow where he can see our doctors.
You had momentum at that point, and then that happened. And how tough is it to bounce back after that?
Well, it shakes you up. It shakes up the team. As a family member, and without question, it alters you a little bit. But I thought our guys did a good job refocusing and getting back into the game.
What's it tell you about your team to fall behind 2-0 in this building and be able to find a way to regroup and then come out with a late win?
Well, it tells us number one, we weren't ready. But then it shows something as far as the battle and sticking with it. But again, we've talked about this. We can't keep doing this to ourselves. And we were fortunate enough tonight. Our goalie made some great saves for us. Our power play got a big goal for us. But the plays that we made early on in the game, again, we talk about the turnovers and having the puck on our stick and just making bad choices with it. But we weren't ready as far as the intensity and our focus where it needed to be. And then after that, obviously it was there. But the guys found a way, and that's what you have to do in this game. But we got to learn from it as well.
Sometimes you fall down 2-0 like that quickly, and are you ever tempted to make a goalie switch to change things up? And you don't tonight, and he plays a fantastic game.
Yeah, it went through my head. But again, I think sometimes you got to give goaltenders at times a chance to battle through it. And not necessarily that it was his fault. I mean, they're quick turnovers, and it was bang plays, but he was great. He was great throughout the game, and especially at the end where he had to make we had some tough penalty kills we had. Guys did a great job there. I think he saw most of the pucks. But if we're going to win games and big power plays come up, your goalie's got to be the best guy out on the ice.
You talk about emotional engagement. I don't know if this team could have been any more emotionally engaged. Obviously, you give up the 2 early goals, but after that, there were a lot of emotions in this game.
There were. Well, I think it's playing in Detroit. It's against Detroit, and the way that the game started, 2-0, and certainly as a coach or even the leaders in the room can help create some emotion too. I think all of those things, and then combine that with what happened with Artem, and then obviously Doris getting in a fight, and everything that was happening in the game. There was plenty of emotions.
Relatively good news though with him. I mean, that's a pretty scary situation, but it seems like the early indications are that he's.
Yeah, all I know right now, and that I can tell you guys is he's alert and stable, and obviously that's great news.
Todd, I saw you address the team after he left, and what do you tell the guys on the bench at that moment?
Well, it's just Artem's going to be looked after, and what we have to do right now is refocus and play for each other and play for Artie. Is really was my message to them.
How long does it take for you guys to see guys get back engaged?
I thought it was right away. I really did. From the first drop of the puck, we weren't hesitating. We were moving forward, and it's scary for players too. When somebody gets hurt like that. Because injuries are part of the game, and I think that starts to creep in a little bit. But I thought our guys refocused and got back to doing the work they need to do.
You glad that your guys got even where it matters on the scoreboard with 2-2? He picks a fight that he wasn't even in, and then he draws kind of a questionable penalty on you guys.
Did we score when he was in the box, the first one? I don't even know.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then obviously it was a huge penalty because it was 2-0, and that power play gave us some life. Got us back into it, and then at the end, you knew something was happening. The crowd was into it. And you talk about the emotion of it, that there was plenty of emotion at that point because it was a 2-2 hockey game. And you knew something was going to happen. And that's Jordan. I've coached Jordan for a few years, and I know what he does and what he can do. And get underneath your skin, and if you allow him to, he'll force you to take a penalty. And whether it was a dive or not, you just can't put yourself in that position.
How huge was that kill? That phantom.
Well, it was that, and then we had a penalty kill right after that too. I mean, we had a 5-on-3 for 9 seconds. So we basically went 4 minutes straight with killing penalties. And again, that's where Bobby stood tall, and when Doris was in the box too, and Mackenzie was in the box. Those were 2 guys I used on the penalty kill. And losing Artie, we were a little bit depleted in that area. But the guys that I used, especially our defensemen on the back end, did a great job.
Hey, Coach, how essential is it, that being in the midst of a road trip, to have a game where the effort meets the result?
It's important. The effort's been there, but again, it's the decisions and some of these mistakes that we're making, whether it's with the puck or decisions, becoming undisciplined in areas, whether it's systematic or whether it's taking penalties. These are the areas we have to shore up. I mean, you can't win in this league continually doing those things. It just doesn't happen, and we can go back over games and look. And tonight we were able to get one, and I'm proud of the guys. They battled and competed hard, but you can't keep doing this to yourself.
What we saw in the third, is that the identity you want for this team, the way that team that you guys
I think pretty much, you take out the first 3 minutes of the game, or 2.5 minutes, whatever it was, when they scored the first 2 goals. I think identity-wise, yeah. Just a really hard-working, systematic, structured team that will battle and compete you and play you hard. And I thought we did that. And we can go back over certain games. And you know what, even the Anaheim game, that we lost 3-2, we did that for most of the game. But it was a couple of our errors that cost us, and we couldn't overcome those.